folks. We just have to make sure everything's up and running and the sound is right. And we tell people it's 1 o'clock Eastern time. So I just want to make sure that, we actually start when we say we do. So here we go in 2, 1. Hey, folks. If you're new to the show, the way this works is we're live right now. If you're listening live, put in hashtag live if you would, please. If you're listening on a replay, put in hashtag replay. Please do that for me. And tell me where you're from, too. I appreciate that. So the way this works is I'm going to talk for 24 minutes. You, whatever platform you're on, can type in any health questions you might have, and I will answer it. Even if it's on a replay, still type in the question. I still get it. And then I'll do another 24-minute segment, and I'll answer any more questions you might have. So it's a great opportunity for you to get some healthcare questions answered, and it's a great way to interact with us and with the fellow folks listening. If you would share this with everybody in your contact list, we appreciate that. We share it right now if you want, because then we get more people listening, and it's always a lot of fun. And if you've never been here, you're going to learn a whole lot of stuff today. So whenever you guys are ready. Okay, we're good? All right, here we go. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Thank you for being here. I always appreciate your time. What we're going to talk about today are health foods that are really bad for you. Because every day, and I've been doing this for about 40 years now, every day patients come to me and they say the same thing. And they think they're being cute and they think they're being original. And they say, Dr. Joe, I eat really well. And let me tell you about what I eat. And then they go through the list of foods they eat. In fact, I had a patient this week who had a stent in his heart again, the LAD, the widowmaker in his heart. And he says, I've given up all red meat. I said, that's great. He says, I eat chicken, and I eat fish, and I eat cheese. And I said, okay, well, the cholesterol content in red meat is the same as in chicken, so that's wrong. I said, fish. He goes, yeah, a lot of mercury in fish, right? I said, yeah, a lot of times there is. He goes, okay. And the dairy products we talked about as well. And I explained to him, I said, listen, if you've had a stent put in your heart and it opened up that clogged artery, amazing. Medical science, probably at its finest. Incredible that they saved this man's life. However, nobody ever discussed with him that the plaque that was in his heart was also in his brain, his sex organs, his liver, his spleen, his kidney, his colon. That plaquing goes systemic. It goes throughout the body. It's not like it's just one place where the plaque is going to occur. And so he goes off the list of foods that he's eating that are healthy. And I went, yeah, maybe on the next visit we'll talk about this a little further. So I'm going to blow away some of your misconceptions about food, but we're going to give you options as well. I'm not going to steal things from you without giving you way more in advance. So let's jump in. Healthy foods that are terrible for you. Number one, and this got the hippie craze was granola. Remember granola? Now, granola's reputation is not well earned. In fact, it's terribly earned. Many of the granolas, if you look at the supermarket, they have things like butter, vegetable oils, white sugar. The vegetable oils, I did a show on it a while ago, a very popular show we did, on how dangerous vegetable oils are. Seed oils, coconut oil, not coconut, I'm sorry, sunflower oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, corn oil, canola oils. These oils are loaded with omega-6 fatty acids. Worse than sugar. And they're just speeding up the aging process, damaging your DNA, damaging the cells, and we use them all the time because they're polyunsaturated. And we learned that saturated fats were bad, so monounsaturated fats are probably better. And then logic would say, well, polyunsaturated is better still. No, it's not true. Monounsaturated fats is the place you want to be. So these polyunsaturated fats, sugars, sometimes they have up to 400 calories for a cup. And then you add milk to it, which I'm not a fan of dairy products either. And so granola, not a health food. And you see granola snack bars. I see them all the time. I donate blood whenever I can. Every option I have, I do. And I always have to laugh because here I am donating blood. I figure my blood's healthy. Somebody's scoring big. And then they say, okay, you can go over there, rest for a second, have a water, and have some cookies. But wait a minute. I just took out blood, and you're going to give me sugar to spike my blood sugar, to spike my insulin, which is going to take the sugar, drive it into the cells, and the cells are going to utilize the sugar and not use other sources of energy. It's like the worst thing you can give somebody who just gave blood. I mean, maybe aside from alcohol, because I did that once in college. Donated blood and went out drinking. Don't do that. I'll teach you a little lesson. I don't drink anymore. I'm good. So, yeah, granola, probably not a good choice. If you have to do something like granola, what you can do is this. You can take organic oats. Make sure it's organic because they're sprayed a lot with chemicals and glyphosate. And so you want to do organic oats. And you can mix in some organic nuts, some organic dried fruit. Mix it together. You make something called muesli. And muesli is cereal. I remember having it the first time when I was bicycling around London, the whole United Kingdom, actually. But I was in London the first time I had it at a bed and breakfast at that time. It was called a hostel. And I thought, this is really good. Now, you can make it yourself. It's a whole lot cheaper than buying it. But you see the words I used in there were organic, because a lot of dried fruit has sulfites in it. Sulfites are known carcinogens, and we put it in there to keep it fresh and keep it soft. So organic nuts, organic oatmeal, and organic dried fruit, mix it together. And then if you have to add something, don't use cow's milk. Use coconut milk, almond milk. Much better choices. Now, oats are still going to spike your blood sugar. Still a lot of sugar, but it's a better choice. And if you follow me on social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito, we post health tips every day, but I also post a lot of my personal life. If I'm going to a concert, if I'm going out to dinner, if I'm making dinner at home. And so you kind of get an insight into what it looks like to live a healthy lifestyle. This is fun. This is, I'm telling you what to do. But on a personal note, what do you do? So you really want to follow me at Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And you're going to get so much insight as to what does it really look like to live a healthy lifestyle. And I may post a picture of something at a restaurant. It may not be the best choice for a meal, but it's the best choice at the moment. And that's what I want you thinking. What's going to be the best choice right now? Let's assume you're at a party, holiday party, birthday party, business party, whatever, and you see the table full of snacks and foods. Make the best choice. Hummus and celery is going to be a heck of a lot better than bacon-wrapped hot dogs. So always look for what's going to be the best choice at this moment in time. Other foods, if you're just joining us, we're talking about healthy foods that really are bad for you. Low-fat salad dressing. I remember I was alive when the low-fat craze came out. And you got to lose weight, and you got to cut out the fat, so we're going to go to low-fat cookies and cakes and salad dressings and everything else. They're often just as bad, if not worse, than the full-fat counterparts. Low-fat salad dressings, they have to make up for their lack of flavor. So what do they add to it? Sugar, high fructose corn syrup, salt, additives, preservatives. And so it becomes this chemical concoction. You say, yeah, but it's low fat. I understand that, but it's not good for you. And just because it's touted as healthy or all natural, these are all terms that mean absolutely nothing. All natural means pretty much nothing. So if you're going to do a salad dressing, it's okay to use a little bit of oil. And I'm going to tell you what kind of oil in a second. And the reason is that a lot of the nutrients, vitamins A, D, E, and K, need oil to be absorbed. So if you're eating carrots, which have vitamin, beta-carotene, which converts into vitamin A, B vitamin, D vitamins, you're not going to get that from a salad. K vitamins you're going to get from green leafy vegetables. You have to be able to use fat to absorb those things. And so the best oil you could use for a salad dressing is going to be avocado oil. Now, you probably have never had avocado oil. It's very mild in flavor. It's a much better choice. Olive oil is a good choice, but here's the thing. About 70, depending on a study you read, 80% of all olive oils in the world are counterfeit. They're not real olive oil. 80%. And the reason is that olive oil is very expensive. And in fact, I read a study that said if there's not enough olive trees in the world to have made the amount of olive oil that's for sale in the world. Follow that? So it couldn't be. It couldn't exist. So what you want to do is get organic extra virgin olive oil, and here's the catch. You take the olive oil, put it in the refrigerator overnight. If it gets cloudy, it's real olive oil. Smell it. It should smell like a rich, savory olive oil. If it doesn't have much smell at all, it's probably fake. And again, you're looking at 70-80% chance of it being fake. And I went to a big box store, and I bought the extra virgin organic olive oil and put it in the refrigerator, and lo and behold, didn't get cloudy. Now, what you can do is the best chances you have, you want to look for an extra virgin olive oil, organic, from one country. The one I bought had multiple countries, Italy, Greece, Spain, and there's more chance of it being mixed with bad stuff if it comes from different sources. And then also it should have a third-party certification on it. It's usually a white little square with a little green leaf in it. And that's a third-party certification saying it really is olive oil. Now you've upped your chances of getting a better extra virgin organic olive oil. So a little bit of oil, a little bit of vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar, but that's the best one, really. But if you're going to use another vinegar, one of the benefits of that is vinegar, even acetic acid, even the bad vinegars, will stabilize your blood sugar. Now, I said this the other day, and somebody sent me an email, and they said, so you're saying that if I just took a tablespoon of vinegar, I would get rid of my diabetes? No, that's not what I said. What I said was it can help stabilize blood sugar. And you'll find that if you do that, you're going to eat less. It's going to help curb your cravings as well. So we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that if you have a sugar craving, we all have them. I have them. I don't know if you do, but I do. I want you to have something really sour. Suck on a lemon. Drink some lemon juice. Have a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. And sour will kind of change your cravings immediately when you're craving sweets. So salad dressing, make your own. A heck of a lot cheaper. I mean, exponentially cheaper. And then you know what's going into the salad dressing itself. I don't like sour. I'm not a lemon fan. I'm not a vinegar fan. So I just use a little bit. Just enough to kind of give it a little flavor. So low-fat salad dressing, not a good idea. Another thing, we're talking about a health food that really is junk food, are these juices that you see. A lot of times you'll see them in a grocery store, and it's apple juices, and it's peach and pear, and they taste wonderful. If you ever had them, they're amazing. Problem is, when you use fruit juice, it's essentially drinking sugar water. And look at the calories on some of these things. It's insane. So if you're going to make a smoothie, I know there's a chain of smoothie places. They're usually in shopping malls, but they're all over the place. And I had one once. Oh, my God, was it good. It was so tasty. And then I looked at the ingredients, loaded with sugar. No wonder it tasted so good. I was drinking sugar water, essentially. So don't be fooled by something that says smoothie or green drink. Look at the sugar content. If it's all vegetables, that's okay. If it's mostly fruit or all fruit, you want to say, no, that's not for me. Because you're just drinking sugar water is what you're doing. Now, what I do is I have a smoothie every day. But wait a minute. I just told you not to eat smoothies, right? I use Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source. If you've never had these before, these are the granddaddies of all supplements. They're 2 powders. I take a scoop of each. I mix it together with coconut milk, almond milk, water if I want to. And I have that first thing in the morning. And when I get out of bed, and you'll get like this after a couple of weeks, you'll just start craving your Super Greens and Essential Source. And you're excited to get out of bed. Like some people get out of bed to make coffee. You're going to get out of bed to make Super Greens and Essential Source. It's the minimum supplement you need every day. It helps the brain. It has 72 different ingredients just in the Essential Source. Prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin, alkalize the system, great source of iodine, which most of you get none in your diet. Maybe some from salt, and that's about it. And iodine, there are receptor sites for iodine on so many different places of the body, meaning the body is using iodine. So I created Super Greens and Essential Source to make it easy on you. Easy and inexpensive. So drjoe.com, you can get them in the store section. If you're not doing at least Super Greens and Essential Source, you're really not doing a whole lot for your health. And why wouldn't you want to be as healthy as you can? I mean, that's a rhetorical question. But why wouldn't you want to be as healthy as you possibly can? I do. I want to live as long as I can, as happy as I can, as healthy as I can, as much energy as I can. Because I promise you, as you get older, things are going to change. It's one of the benefits of getting older. You don't want to go out as much. You want to stay home. You want to relax more. You want to do house chores. So all the things you didn't want to do when you were a kid, you start to want to do when you're older. And it's wonderful. And I just love it. I'm so happy I got to this age in my life. And I want to do it healthy. So at least Super Greens and Essential Source, minimum supplements. That's my smoothie. You want to throw some frozen berries in there, whip it up? Great. That's fine too. But when you start adding, the sugar juices, the fruit juices, just don't do it. And don't drink fruit juice either, by the way. That's not a health food either. All right, so if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking about health foods that are really bad for you. Whole wheat bread. A lot of those loaves of whole wheat bread are packed with high fructose corn syrup, molasses, honey whole wheat. That's just basically sugar added to it. So I'm not a fan of anything that has wheat in it. And I would love for you to consider giving up dairy and wheat. And if you give up dairy and wheat, so here's my challenge. I give you this challenge a lot. I'm going to give you a challenge. I want you to give up dairy and wheat for 10 days. No wheat, no dairy, not a bite, not a nibble, not a sip, nothing. No wheat, no dairy, 10 days. See how you feel. If nothing changes, go back to eating wheat and dairy. I'm okay with that. The reason I know is it's a bet I can't lose. If you're giving up wheat and dairy, chances are very high that mucus will get better, you go to the bathroom better, your bowels change, the stomach flattens out, all these wonderful, it's not going to be flat unless you do other things too, but all these things change by giving up wheat and dairy. I'd love to see you give up all 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Yeah. And artificial sweetener, I hope I don't even have to tell you. Don't do that, folks. That is so bad for you on so many different levels. I can give you an hour lecture on just artificial sweetener. But if you're going to eat bread, which I wish you wouldn't, there's something called sprouted bread or Ezekiel bread. That would probably be a better choice. Now, it's not a good choice. What did we talk about earlier? Making the best choice you can. And I understand we're going to try to transition you into this new world. And some of you are going to jump in with both feet. Most of you are going to say, I'm going to start slow. So give up the alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. Switch out the breads. Gluten-free breads are, at least they don't have gluten in them. They're still sugary, but that's a better choice. But that might be a better choice without all the added sugar. Because if you ever look at the ingredients in bread, it's just a ton of ingredients. It should have flour, water, and yeast. It doesn't. It has a lot more stuff than that. And the reason is that if you just have flour, water, and yeast, the bread goes bad. I don't know if you're old enough to remember, but we used to have to go buy bread every day because the bread went stale. That doesn't happen anymore, does it? The bread can sit around for months, I think, and not go stale. So I miss those days. And the bread was so much tastier, too. And then my mother would save the bread and make breadcrumbs out of it because we were very poor. Nothing was ever thrown away in my house. And we'd make breadcrumbs out of it and reuse it. But it was a different world. And also what we're doing with wheat now in the United States, a lot of the wheat you're eating has been sprayed with glyphosate, which is a weed killer. And the reason it's sprayed with glyphosate is because it kills the wheat and makes it easier to harvest. Same thing with oats. So that's why I say only organic oats. Steel cut is better than old-fashioned, but if you're going to do it, it's got to be organic. And then the second thing is I really want you to stay away from wheat because it's been hybridized. It's been altered from what it used to be. And a lot of the things we do here in the United States are not allowed in Europe. You can't use the weed killers in Europe. So it's a different world if you go to Europe. But we're talking United States right now. So we're talking today about health foods that aren't really healthy for you. And bread is certainly one of them. I really want you to cut out your bread if you can. Veggie chips. This is interesting, too, because people eat veggie chips, and they think, well, this is better than potato chips. It's just as bad. They're deep fried. They're heavily salted. The thin-cut veggies. It's not a source of nutrients. Don't kid yourself. If you think, you might be fooling yourself. Was it Styx? You're fooling yourself if you believe it. That's a band, by the way. Yeah, you're fooling yourself. So veggie chips, absolutely no better than potato chips. They're still horrible. They're loaded with omega-6 fatty acids, the polyunsaturated fats, the salt. They're fried. When you fry, it creates acrylamides. Acrylamides are known carcinogens. That's why fried potatoes, fried veggie chips, you're basically just eating things that we know are linked to cancer. I wish you wouldn't do that. Why? Because I like you guys. So what I'm trying to do here is put together a protocol for you where you can say, I get it, Dr. Joe. I'm understanding what you're saying, and I'm willing to make a few changes. So the ultimate protocol would be have a normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. If you can get those 3 things put together, now you have a healthcare plan. Many of you have health insurance, but you don't have a healthcare plan. And so I'm putting that healthcare plan for you. And when I say nervous system, the way the body works is the brain sends messages down the spine, out the nerves to every cell in the body, the heart, the lungs, the liver, the spleen. And so you have to have a free flow of energy from the brain to the body and back up to the brain. And if bones move out of place and there's swelling involved, you can pinch a nerve. Now, if you pinch a nerve, it hurts 10% of the time. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So if you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, folks, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. We would love to be your doctor. So you can go to my website, drjoe.com. Let's check the spine. Let's check the nervous system. Let's check your digestive system. Let's do a nutrition evaluation. Normally, the first visit with us is $940. For my listeners, I've reduced that to $299. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on a second visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Folks, if you're serious about wanting to get well, not just out of pain, yes, getting out of pain, of course, but also getting well, drjoe.com. We'd love to see you this week. We can get you an appointment at any of our offices this week, drjoe.com. Any questions, send me questions through the website or call us. We'll answer any questions you have. So what we're talking about today are health foods that are not good for you. Gluten-free snacks. I kind of touched on this when we talked about bread, but I really want you to stay away from wheat. I'm begging you, I'm pleading with you, please stay away from wheat. It's not good. Now we have these gluten-free snacks, and you think, okay, this is good. Gluten is the protein in wheat that Dr. Joe doesn't want me to eat. I'm okay with that. I'm going to go with gluten-free snacks. Now, many of those treats are just as much sugar. They're loaded with chemicals, additives. They'll say sometimes caloric intake is about the same. So gluten-free snacks, again, you have to think, is it a bunch of sugar? Is it a bunch of chemicals? Certain things like popcorn. If you buy commercial popcorn, and I was talking about this the other day, I went to a concert, and I saw the concession stands. And I used to work at Giant Stadium in New Jersey. And I worked at the concession stand that I served hot dogs and beer and popcorn. And I remember the chunks of palm oil, hydrogenated palm oil, that you'd put in a thing with popcorn, and you'd make this popcorn. And it had that greasy flavor to it. And you wanted butter. That wasn't butter, folks. When you go to the movie theater, that's not butter they're giving you. I want extra butter. It's hydrogenated omega-6 fatty acids. It's like just laying plaster in your arteries, just clogging up your heart. So that would be considered gluten-free. Doesn't mean it's healthy. So just think about it. Is it going to be the best choice I can make at this moment in time? And that's what I always want you to think every meal. I do it every meal. Is this going to be the best choice? I usually pack a salad every day for lunch. And I always think, is this going to be the best choice I can make? And the answer is almost always yes. That's a simple one. But it's raw. It has the green leafy vegetables, has the B vitamins in it. So salad, I really would like to consider having a salad every day. Now, it doesn't have to just be lettuce. You can add tomatoes and cucumbers and avocados, and I have an avocado tomato salad yesterday. So getting the raw fruits and vegetables is key. I want you to have something raw at every meal. So again, first of all, I'd love to come see us, and we can do a protocol just for you. And if you're not in the Atlanta area, we can do a remote consultation as well. But I really want to put together a plan for you, so you can go step by step what you can do to get well and stay well. And I understand you're probably not going to do it all at once. You don't have to do it all at once. Just think every day, what little step can I take to get well and stay well? And when you do that, you start seeing changes. You're going to realize that it was well worth it. I've never, in my entire career, 40 years now, I've been working with patients, I've never had someone come back to me and say, Dr. Joe, I followed your nutritional advice, and I want to go back to my old diet because it was better. Never. It's a pretty high percentage rate there, isn't it? So give it a shot. Again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what? I don't know what you're doing. I can't follow you. I can help you with the neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, organ issues, digestive issues. We're pretty good at helping with those. No promises or guarantees, but we're pretty good at that. But the diet, I just teach you how to do it. And what you do with that information is totally up to you. So if you're just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We're talking about health foods that aren't really healthy, because so many of you have been duped by advertising, or maybe you're just trying to lie to yourself, fooling yourself, right? Turkey bacon. Nah, it ain't any better than pork bacon. It's maybe they shave off a few calories here or there. It's loaded with chemicals and sodium and saturated fat and nitrates. And nitrates are possible, they're linked to cancer. And what happens is you take nitrates and you heat them. When you heat it, it creates something called a nitrosamine. Nitrosamines are the carcinogens. So you might see something that says uncured bacon. What they do is they don't use nitrates as a chemical. They use celery juice. Celery juice is loaded with nitrates. So just because it says uncured, it doesn't mean it's any better for you. All right, folks, got to go to a break. If you have any health questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Love to answer any questions for you. If you'd like to make an appointment to come see us, which, by the way, you should, drjoe.com, either virtual or in person. We're happy to set that up for you. The supplements we talked about, Super Green Essential Source. We're going to talk about digestive enzymes and nitric oxide. A breakdown of all the supplements are on there on the website. We ship either the same day or the next business day that you order. Or prices are going up from the post office. We're going to have to pass that on to you. Go to our offices, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. Pick them up yourself. Save yourself some shipping costs. I'm doing everything I can for you, folks. I really want to be your doctor. I want to get you well and keep you well. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're a podcast junkie, just type in Dr. Joe for the health of it on your podcast service. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks so much for being here. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back. All right. What you got?
Several questions come in. I think you hit on a nerve.
I guess so.
I am dairy-free, gluten-free, and I am trying plant-based foods only. Will I be lacking any vitamins with this diet?
Only thing you might be missing is vitamin B12. And so Dr. Joe's Essential Source has vitamin B12 in it. I also take Dr. Joe's B Complex. See if I have a bottle here. Just as a backup plan. But yeah, because the problem is that 43% of people can't methylate their folic acid or folate. And what that means is they can't break it down and utilize it properly. And so you can get a test, a genetic test for it. It's about $600. We don't do it, so I'm not trying to sell you anything. But if you're taking Super Greens and Essential Source, especially in the B Complex, you're getting the B vitamins that you need, specifically B12. The only nutrient you have to worry about is B12. That's it.
Is a Mediterranean diet or the Atkins diet a healthier choice?
Mediterranean, if you had to pick one. The Mediterranean, I like it because it's a lot of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. And then they say a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of meat, a little bit of dairy. Take that part out, you got the perfect diet.
You win a debate with the guy from the Atkins diet?
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Atkins himself. That's right. Yeah, I've debated other people. I was supposed to debate Atkins on the Atkins diet, and then he died. So I didn't get to debate him. But, yeah, he was ready to go toe-to-toe with me, and I was ready for him. And I mean, I'm not happy that he died. That's not making light of that. But, yeah.
Does that mean you won?
I guess that means I won, yeah. How about that? Yeah. So, well, he did slip and fall and hit his head. So I will give credit or whatever. Truth what truth do. So, yes.
What are the healthiest choices when it comes to cheese?
Plant-based cheese, vegan cheese. There is no animal cheese that's good for you. And the cheeses are fermented. Many times it causes headaches. I did a show on headaches, last night, as a matter of fact. And so cheeses, there are no good cheeses. Now, the plant-based cheeses are better choices, because that's what we're talking about, better choices. I'll be honest with you, they don't taste as good. Not going to lie to you. So you're going to find that the reason you like cheese is not that you like cheese. There's a chemical in cheese called casomorphines. Casomorphines are exactly like they sound. They're morphine. And when they get in your brain, they get you high. So the only reason you're loving cheese so much is not because it's so delicious. It's because you're getting high from it. And that's why it's so hard to give up the cheese. It's like giving up cigarettes, giving up alcohol. You're addicted. So cut it out for health reasons, and you'll find that the cravings go away just like anything else. So, what else?
Can tamales or certain Mexican foods be healthy?
Absolutely. Plant-based tamales, I love them. Yeah. And beans, as long as they have lard in it. Beans are great. Guacamole is excellent. Pico de gallo is wonderful. Lettuce is great. Hot sauce is wonderful. The spicy foods. So I love Mexican food, as a matter of fact. And I went the other day with my adopted family, and I was amazed. They had margaritas. I mean, I don't know. It looked like a pitcher. And one of the guys there drank it, and other people are having drinks and having cheese and having meat. And I got a bowl, and I got it without rice. So I got double beans, guacamole, salsa, pico de gallo, lettuce, tomatoes, onions. Spectacular. So Mexican food can be very healthy. Just don't do the lard, and the beans are fine. Yeah. And not the corn chips either, because they're corn, which is omega-6 fatty acids, fried in omega-6 fatty acids, creating acrylamides. Don't do the chips. So.
There's a lot of raw food, too.
Yeah, a lot of Mexican food is raw, too. Exactly. So, yeah, so it's really not a bad choice if you just order right. Yeah.
Should I steam or roast vegetables?
Steaming would be better than roasting, if you had to pick a choice. Yeah. More?
Several bread questions have come in. Is rye bread a healthy choice?
No. Rye is still loaded with gluten. Wheat, barley, and rye have gluten in it, so sorry to burst your bubble. Yeah, when I touch on bread, man, it's like I slapped somebody's kid. You know, they get all upset with me. Keep trying, though.
Is a gluten-free bread a healthy choice?
It's a better choice. It's not a good choice. It's a better choice. Make sure it's plant-based, though, without eggs.
Can homemade bread be made in a healthy way?
Well, again, if you're using something like spelt, quinoa, Those would be better choices than wheat. And the problem is the gluten makes it all gooey and sticky together, so it makes it taste good. So you're going to have to experiment with the homemade breads. And again, not a lot of chemicals. If you make it, eat it, and that's it. It's not a good choice. It's still like eating sugar, but it's a better choice. So, what else?
That's all for now.
All right. You guys are hot today. Oh, Garrett has more.
The best way to cure non-alcoholic fatty liver disease.
Cut out the high fructose corn syrup. When I was young, we didn't have high fructose corn syrup. And when I went to school even, I learned that if you have fatty liver, you were an alcoholic. That was it. No other option. Alcoholism, fatty liver. Now we're finding non-alcoholic fatty liver in kids as young as 5. They ain't alcoholics. What are you getting it from? Fructose, or high fructose corn syrup, or even any sugars, really, because even table sugar is half fructose, half glucose. The glucose gets utilized by the cells as fuel. That's why in a hospital, they give you a glucose drip. They don't give you a bag of fructose. The glucose can be utilized right away. The fructose has to be converted into glucose. And in the process, it happens in the liver. It creates something called uric acid. Uric acid gets in your joints and it hurts. So another reason I want you to stay away from your sugars. Uric acid prevents the body from properly making nitric oxide. Nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. I personally take a nitric oxide supplement every day. You should too, unless you have low blood pressure. Don't take it if you have low blood pressure. But nitric oxide is so important for brain function, sexual function, circulation, brings nutrients to the nerves so the nerves can start to function more efficiently. So nitric oxide, absolutely my third favorite supplement. Super Green is an essential source of first. This is second or third, how you look at it. But nitric oxide can increase the circulation to the body. If you're taking fructose in, fructose converts into uric acid. Uric acid slows down nitric oxide production. So now you're also getting bad circulation, and the waste products can cause the fatty liver. So sugar is the key to non-alcoholic fatty liver. Breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas, white sugar, high fructose corn syrup, sodas. Sorry, folks, but that's what's causing it. All right, what else you got?
What are the best foods or supplements for autoimmune PLEVA?
Okay, autoimmune diseases. Go to my website, drjoe.com, and just type in autoimmune. And we did a whole show on autoimmunity. So with autoimmunity, your body is attacking itself. So you have to stop putting stuff in your body that's causing the body to go crazy. And that would be the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. But the biggies, of course, all of them are biggies, but the breads, the wheats, the cookies, the sugars, the donuts, those are the things that are blowing up autoimmunity, especially the wheat. So if I had to give you 2 things to give up with autoimmunity, it would be wheat and dairy products. Now, artificial sweeteners, everybody has to give those up. There's no question those have to go. Wheat and dairy for autoimmune patients. And we know that the autoimmune condition, if you have one disease, chances are you're going to have more later on in life. Supplement-wise, Super Green is an essential source, absolutely. Vitamin D, absolutely. If you have normal blood pressure, nitric oxide, absolutely. Glutathione to clean out the liver, absolutely. Super Green, essential source of vitamin D, nitric oxide, glutathione, and then Dr. Joe's B complex. All 6 of those, I think it was 6, are on the website, drjoe.com. Listen to the show on autoimmunity. Give up your wheat and your dairy products, and of course, artificial sweetener. Give up all 7. Go with those supplements, and let's stabilize that blood sugar and that blood immunity issues. So, what else you got?
Many health professionals are pushing certain proteins. What are your thoughts?
I don't know.
Protein overall.
Oh, protein overall, yeah. Your body doesn't need more protein. Your body needs 8 to 10% of its total caloric intake as protein. A carrot is 6%. So if you're eating a plant-based diet, you're getting more than enough protein. In fact, I did an analysis on myself, and I eat a plant-based diet. I'm getting 70% more protein than I need. Now, it's plant-based protein, so my body breaks it down and passes it out easily. If I'm getting animal proteins, meat, butter, cheese, yogurt, eggs, ice cream, I'm just tearing up my kidneys, tearing up my liver. And so you don't need more protein, you just need good protein, which is plant-based protein. You don't need protein shakes. You don't have to worry about your meats. I haven't had an animal product in 38 years. So far, so good. My brain works. My body works. Blood pressure's normal. Cholesterol's normal. Everything is normal. So why wouldn't you do it? And I said normal, not average. Remember that. Normal's different. So why wouldn't you do that lifestyle? You don't need more protein. Don't fall for that lie. What else you got?
I covered that one. I think that's it for now.
That's it?
That's
okay.
it.
All right. Part 2. Where was I? Here we go. All right. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you stuck around, thank you. If you're just joining us, welcome. What we're talking about today are healthy foods that are really terrible for you. And I started the other segment by saying that so many patients come to me and they say, Dr. Joe, let me tell you about my wonderful diet. And they say they're doing granola and fat-free dressings, and they're doing fruit smoothies every day, and they're eating whole wheat bread, and they're only eating veggie chips. And I said, all those things you just listed are horrible for you. And so I want to continue on with that. Canned soups. Canned soups are just loaded with sugars and salts and additives and chemicals. So if you're going to do a canned soup, make sure that you're going to do an organic canned soup. Now, the problem with the cans is that a lot of cans, and this is from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, the cans are lined with something called bisphenol A, BPA. And the can linings can increase your risk of obesity and insulin resistance. And I've done shows on this before. It's not just the food you eat. It's your environment that can cause you to gain weight. So if you're eating canned soups, if it's lined with bisphenol A, which is basically just a non-stick coating to make the stuff slide out of the can easier, it can actually be causing you to gain weight. It's not the cause of gaining weight, but it can be contributing to it. So I personally like to make my own soups. In fact, I love making soups. In fact, I make soup probably about once a week in the winter. Now, I have one of those, one pots, little crock pots, new modern crock pots, and you can put a soup together from start to finish and have dinner in less than an hour. And you can do lentil soup, you can do split pea soup, you can do vegetable soups, you can do bean soups, multiple bean soups. Stay away from wheat, barley, and rye. Remember that because they're loaded with gluten. And just make your own soups. If you don't know what kind of soups to make, just go on the website, go on internet and type in, a vegan soups. And you can't possibly read all of them that are out there. And do that. Now, be careful with the broth because many broths that are out there have monosodium glutamate in them. And I cannot stress enough how dangerous monosodium glutamate is. And it has over 40 different names. Autolyzed yeast, hydrolyzed vegetable protein, natural flavors, broth, monosodium glutamate. In fact, my first book that I ever wrote, Eating Right for the Health of It, we have a whole chapter on soup, so that's a great place to go. drjoe.com, get the book Eating Right for the Health of It. It has recipes in it. But if you're going to use a vegetable broth, just be careful that it doesn't have monosodium glutamate in it. It should just be vegetables. Salt-free is always a good one. Or just make your own. It's pretty easy. But yeah, make your own soups. It's much better for you because anything canned, you're running the risk of having the bisphenol A. So just consider that. Is it worth it? Now, we talk about making the best choice. I'd rather see you eat a can of beans than have a steak. It's a lot cheaper, way cheaper, and way better for you. So I'd rather see you do that than have the steak. So it's all about better choices. Now, if you're going to do organic, you have a better chance of not having the bisphenol A. So organic soups might be a better choice. But let me tell you, son, they are so stupid expensive, those canned soups. $2, $3, $4 a can. I could make gallons of split pea soup for $5. Organic split peas, carrot, onion, celery, a plant-based vegetable broth. You could add pepper, garlic, salt if you want to, Celtic sea salt or air-dried sea salt, and make your own. So much better. I mean, tastes better. Nothing else. It tastes great. And you can freeze it, get little glass jars, and freeze it if you want to, and now you have your own canned soup. You want soup at night, take it out in the morning, put it on the counter. It'll be defrosted by the time you come home. You got soup. You're going to save so much money when you start making your own soups because it's a great replacement for other meals that are very expensive. Once you get into this, folks, it's great. Now, if you eat beans and if you have a gas problem with it, what I recommend is Dr. Joe's enzyme support. Whenever I eat a cooked meal, I take Dr. Joe's enzyme support. One of the reasons is I'm getting older, so my enzyme levels are dropping, and I just don't digest food like I used to. So I switch to the enzyme support. Now, if you're over 30, you should be taking an enzyme support with every cooked meal. Just carry it with you. It's pretty simple. I had many patients over the years that had their gallbladder removed. I'm going to go on a tangent here for a second. And I said, did the doctor ever tell you got to replace that bile? because your gallbladder stores bile, and bile is like dish detergent. When you eat fat, it squirts this dish detergent into your colon and breaks down the fat. Remove your gallbladder, you don't have this reserve of dish detergent. You're kind of dripping a little dish detergent here and there into your colon. And no one ever, in all the years I've been in practice, has ever said I got to substitute that bile that I don't have stored anymore. So there's a supplement called Colacol, and if you can't remember it, send me an email. I'll send it to you. And I'll give you the link to the company I use because, again, it's all about quality. And it's not my product, so I'm not trying to sell you my product here. But Colacol is absolutely necessary. And boy, I had a lady come in the other day, and I told her, and I just say this in passing. I don't even remember. I say it so many times. And she came in, and she's crying. And I said, what's wrong? And she said, I have never felt this good in the past 30 years. And I said, why are you crying? She goes, I cannot tell you how happy I am that you told me about this and how mad I am that nobody ever told me about it. She said, for the past 30 years, I've been putting on weight. I feel terrible. I have digestive problems. She says, and it's a bottle is like, I don't know, it's like 60 pills for like $15. I mean, it's really cheap. And she said, I take one every time I have something with fat in it. And she goes, my life has changed. I'm so mad at my doctors who never told me about this before. So anyway, I'll go find a tangent there when I'm talking about supplements. But yeah, you want to keep the body as healthy as you possibly can. And that's why I'd love to set up a consultation with you specifically. Because you probably have quirks and idiosyncrasies, we all do, that need a coach. I mean, the best baseball players in the world. Some guy just trying to, what was it? I can't remember his name now. Just signed a $700 million contract to play baseball. How crazy is that? And you know what? He has a coach. Everybody has coaches. I have coaches, and I want to be your coach. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, maybe you have neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, numbness, tingling, sciatica, muscle weakness. Maybe you have digestive issues. Maybe you want to learn about nutrition. Go to my website, drjoe.com. Set up an appointment with me. In the Atlanta area, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb, we have offices. We'd be happy to meet with you. And if you're not in the Atlanta area, we can do a virtual consultation. And let's put together a plan specifically for you. Let's find out where your shortcomings are, what we need to do to get them fixed, and let's do everything we can within our power to get you as healthy as we possibly can. So drjoe.com, if to come see us, that's exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, complete nutrition evaluation. That's an in-person consultation. If it's remote, it's just nutritional consultation and lifestyle coaching. But if you want to do that, normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays, nutrition eval. You're not going to get that anywhere else at any price. And that's why we want to see if you're a candidate for care. And if you are, we'll tell you. If not, you're not. We'll tell you that too. So drjoe.com, do that right now. Stop jerking around. Stop wasting time. And every day you have health problems, it's going to get worse and worse unless you do something about it in most cases. drjoe.com. And you can send me questions through the website too, drjoe.com. So what we're talking about today are health foods that are really bad for you. Another one that really irks me, these protein bars. They're supposed to fuel your muscles, and protein bars in their health foods. They're loaded with many times genetically modified soy, sodium, artificial sweeteners, sugars, high fructose corn syrups. And most protein bars are actually sabotage your health. They're actually bad for you. Those sugar-free and low-carb ones are often somewhat better if they don't have any sugar added, because sugar-free means they're probably using artificial sweeteners then. And in the Yale Journal of Biology and Medicine, links artificial sweeteners used to risk of weight gain and increasing your sugar cravings. And also there's been links to artificial sweeteners to certain cancers. So I would strongly advise you never, ever, under any circumstances, do artificial sweeteners. Now, again, if you want to do a protein bar, you can get a bag of trail mix, organic trail mix. I say organic. That has nuts in it, maybe some dried fruit. Do that instead. Much better choice, way cheaper, and much better for you. Now, I say organic because, again, if you just tuned in, we talk about dried fruit. And a lot of times dried fruit has nitrates in it. And nitrates are potential carcinogens. So dried fruit has to be organic. They don't add the sulfites. They don't add the sulfites. So that's why you want to make sure you're doing organic when you do the dried fruits. Rice cakes. Rice is getting a bad rap lately. If you're going to do rice, I want you to do organic California rice. because the other rices, the rices are very high in aluminum, metals, heavy metals, and it could absorb it from the soil, and that's not good for you either. So heavy metals like mercury, lead, and plants can absorb it. Like tea, for example, will absorb heavy metals like aluminum. But you just got to be careful with the heavy metals that can be absorbed with certain plants, and rice is one of them. So we find that the rice from California, organic rice, has the lowest amount of the toxic heavy metals in it. But rice cakes, especially if you start throwing on sugars and sweeteners and maybe peanut butter with hydrogenated oil in it. So organic rice cakes, if you're going to eat plain rice cakes, probably not the worst thing in the world. But just be careful about the junk that they throw in there. Okay? Coconut water, a single cup can have 15 grams of sugar. So coconut water is better than soda, but I certainly wouldn't be drinking it every day. It does have a lot of sugar in it. Yogurt, every day. Every day, patients come to me and they say, Dr. Joe, I take yogurt every day for my probiotics. A couple of things wrong with that statement. Number one, most yogurts, I know in Georgia anyway, have to be pasteurized before they're sold. So they have probiotics in them. They have good bacteria. We pasteurize it to kill the bad bacteria, kill the good bacteria too. So the count that they have, the number of probiotics, the millions of colonies of probiotics they have in there, oftentimes is way off because it's pasteurized. It kills the good and the bad bacteria. Also, many times yogurt is made with dairy products, which I'm not a fan of either. Now, if you're going to do yogurt, you want to do cashew yogurt, almond yogurt, soy yogurt if it's organic. Those are better choices. But again, don't get them sweetened, get them unsweetened. Otherwise, you're basically just eating sugar. So not a good choice there. We talked a little bit about oatmeal earlier. If you're going to do oatmeal, steel cut is going to be the best choice for you. Steel cut, they take steel cut, they steam it and roll it out, and that's called rolled oats. That's why they call it rolled oats. And that's a little better, but it's still going to spike your blood sugar. Better choice, better than bacon and eggs. And then if you do instant oats, that's the worst of all, because usually instant oats, they grind them up. They basically put it in a blender and grind it up. You got instant oats, and it breaks down the fiber. So you're losing a lot of the beneficial fiber from it, and oftentimes they're loaded with sugar. Brown sugar oats can have 12 grams of sugar in it. In a day, you're not supposed to have more than 40 grams of sugar from any source. And if you're doing something like coconut water with 15 grams of sugar in one serving, a bowl of flavored oatmeal with 12 grams of sugar in a serving, not a good idea. Because again, sugar breaks down even if it's table sugar into fructose and glucose, and the fructose converts into uric acid, and uric acid affects circulation to your sex organs and your brain and your arteries and your veins and your nerves. And so you really don't want to mess with that. So cutting back on the sugar is a key. And the flavored oatmeals, especially if they're instant, are really just like eating sugar water because the fiber's broken down. So you don't even have the benefit of the fiber anymore. So if you're just tuning in, what I'm talking about today, folks, are healthy foods that are really bad for you. And I know I'm bursting a few bubbles here, and I know a lot of you are going to send me questions, and that's okay. If you have a question, send it to me through my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. Happy to answer any questions for you. The website's a great source of information, too. We have over 4,000 hours of podcasts. So you can go in there and enjoy your podcast. Put in a search bar what you're looking for. And we have podcasts and blogs, and it's so much information. So content, I guess I should say, 4,000 hours of content. And feel free to send me questions through the website. All the supplements we talk about, Super Green, Essential Source, nitric oxide, vitamin D, B-complex, adrenal support, all on the website, drjoe.com. In fact, we have women's estrogen hormone support, women's hormone support, half price. So I really want to help balance out people's hormones, especially as we go into the holidays. And that's on the website, drjoe.com. Dr. Joe's Super Greens with hemp, half price as well. I'm trying to get these out to you, folks. I'm doing everything we can to get these nutrients in your hands and into your body the best we can. So, drjoe.com, great place to hang out. And then also, if you follow us on social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito, we post every day, at least once a day, sometimes multiple times a day. And you're also going to get pop-up information. When we're doing a podcast, we're doing a live lecture, we're doing a radio show, we're doing a TV show, you're going to get the pop-ups so you can join us. And you can say, oh, Dr. Joe's doing a podcast. Let me tune in. And then we store everything on Facebook and Instagram. You just have to go to my archives, and we have everything archived there. Can't make it any easier for you, can I? Unless it came to your house, which I'm not going to do. We have that for you. We talked about dried fruit already. They have these things called acai bowls now. Many times it's just sugar and frozen yogurt. It's really not a good choice. Kind of like the smoothies like we talked about. Ooh, it's a acai bowl. It must be good for me. It's just sugar. Let's get real. If you make your own, it's different. But we're selling to the public. The public wants to think they're eating something healthy when they're not. But it's business. It's capitalism. And that's the nice part is you don't have to fall for this anymore now that you listen to my shows. It's there. I'm not saying somebody shouldn't be able to sell it. That's that every right to sell it. It doesn't mean you have to buy it. And that's what I'm trying to do is give you power over your own health. And that's what's so important. So we're talking today about health foods that are not good for you. We kind of talked about veggie chips before, but you might be thinking I'm going to have baked chips, baked potato chips, baked pita chips. Well, that's going to be much better for me. Baked chips are often packed with more sodium to make up for the lack of fat, because fat makes them taste good. And they're marketed as a healthier option. You might try to convince yourself that it's a better choice. Don't do it. Don't try to convince yourself that something's better for you. You know better. Pita chips, of course, are made with wheat, usually. And wheat, of course, is not good for you. Now, there is gluten-free pita. I've had it before. It tastes fine. But it's more hard to find. Again, it's still sugar, though. It's just like eating sugar. The big one that we did a whole show on a while ago is vegetable oils. Oh, Dr. Joe, I don't eat lard, which you shouldn't. But I use vegetable oils. Not everything that comes from a vegetable is good for you, like the vegetable oils. Many times they're partially hydrogenated vegetable oil, and that can raise your bad cholesterol, increase your risk of heart disease. It attacks the DNA, essentially. It affects the mitochondria in the cell, which produces energy. Again, I did a whole couple of hours on nothing but omega-6 fatty acids and vegetable oils. So stay away from that. Again, just because it comes from a vegetable, that doesn't mean it's good for you. We covered protein shakes a little bit. We covered smoothies. But people always ask me, number one question I get, Dr. Joe, you don't eat meat. Where do you get your, say it with me, protein? Yeah, where do you get your protein from? Well, obviously I'm starving. It's quite apparent that I'm emaciated and my brain doesn't function and I'm near death because I haven't had meat in 38 years. Protein shakes are basically like a milkshake. Many of the protein shakes are loaded with sugar. They're loaded with dairy. They have the artificial sweeteners in them, and not a good choice. You don't need more protein. Your body only needs about 8 to 10% of its total caloric intake as protein. That's everything I eat. 8% of it should be protein. Beans are way beyond that. Carrots are 6%. They're close to 8%. Lentils, split peas, vegetables. Think about this. Let's think about a cow. Cows have a lot of protein, right? Fat, leather, beef, horns, hooves, bones. Do cows eat meat? No. They eat vegetables. Now, I understand their digestive system is different than ours. They have 4 stomachs. We have 1. I get all that. But we can get plenty of protein if you're just eating a plant-based diet. In fact, more than you even need. Way more than you. I said earlier, I think I did an analysis on myself. I get about 70% more protein than I need because it's quality, not quantity. It's like the dating world, right? Not a lot of pool in the not a lot of chlorine in the dating pool. So quantity is a lot out there, but it's about quality. Well, I want you to think about that with your health. It's about the quality of the food you put in your body. And the cool part about this is it's so much cheaper. I mean, not a little bit, a lot cheaper when you start eating the right foods. If you don't know what to eat, go to my website, drjoe.com, and type in the search bar, so what can I eat? And you could listen to a lecture that I did. It talks about breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks, parties, raising kids, holidays. Everything is all there. And when you search the website, by the way, it's absolutely free. You can search for specific concerns that you might have. And then if you have any questions, send me a question through the website, drjoe.com. Happy to answer your questions. Follow us on social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito. We post every single day, many times, multiple times a day. And we said earlier, it's not just health tips, it's also an insight into living this lifestyle. How do you really live this lifestyle? What happens if you go to a restaurant? What happens if you're at home? What happens if you're on a date? drjoe.com is the website, social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You're going to be very happy, I predict, with all the information we're going to send you literally every day. And it's just a post in your Facebook. You don't like it, scroll past it. Don't like it? Unfollow us. You're not going to unfollow us. People don't unfollow us. So drjoe.com if you want to make an appointment, questions, supplements, locations of the offices, search the website. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it in your podcast service. And we post at least 2 podcasts a day, but they're all there archived too. Not a day, a week, I'm sorry. And then also if you're a veteran. If you're a veteran and the VA refers you to our office, we're on a list that accepts VA patients, the VA is going to pay for your treatment. So go to your VA doctor and say, hey, I want to go see Dr. Joe because I have pain or whatever it is. And if the doctor refers you, we're happy to see you. Any of our offices, Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. So if you're just tuning in, you missed a great show. Almost done. We're talking about health foods that are really bad for you. The low-carb snacks, many times they're sugar-free cookies and pork rinds and bunless cheeseburgers. But at the end of the day, junk food is junk food. Like pork rinds, they fry them, and they're loaded with saturated fats. They fry them in omega-6 fatty acids, polyunsaturated fats, which are bad for you as well. When they fry them, they create acrylamides. And so you're thinking to yourself, well, this pork rind is ketogenic. Not a fan of ketogenic, by the way. It's ketogenic, and it's healthy for me. No. Just because it doesn't have sugar in it doesn't mean it's healthy for you. And things that do have sugar in it, like an apple, is good for you. So it takes a little coaching. It takes a little captain to steer your ship through this. And I want to be your captain. I want to help you through this whole thing. Microwave popcorn, sometimes it might be low in calories, but many of what you're going to find is really unhealthy. And it's not just the popcorn. They line the popcorn bag with a bisphenol A, a nonstick coating, and that is highly toxic. It can affect your hormones, men and women, children, very bad for children. I'm not a fan of anything microwave, just so you know, but the microwave popcorn is one of the worst because you're first of all, the microwave, but the lining of the bag can be toxic. Plus the artificial butters they use, polyunsaturated fats, hydrogenated oils, flavoring salts, artificial sweetener, artificial chemicals, artificial flavor enhancers like monosodium glutamate. So I'm not a fan of microwave popcorn. If you're going to make popcorn, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. You're going to take organic popcorn. It's got to be organic because otherwise it's probably genetically modified. Organic popcorn, get an air popper and just pop it in the air popper. And then if you want to salt it, you want it to stick, you can spray something called organic tamari. Tamari is like a high-end soy sauce that doesn't have a lot of monosodium glutamate in it. And spray it on. It's going to be salty and sticky. And then you can coat it. Now, a nice popcorn topping is called nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast has a very cheesy flavor to it. It tastes like cheese. It's really good. Now, if you're sensitive, it does have some glutamic acid in it. It's what makes it savory. Now, if you're sensitive, like you've had a traumatic brain injury, or you're a migraine sufferer, you might find that the nutritional yeast might trigger your headaches because of glutamic acid. It's an excitotoxin to the brain. But for most people, nutritional yeast is actually good for you. Loaded with B vitamins. It's loaded with protein. So you're going to love it. In most cases, people come back and say, Dr. Joe, wow, this is really cool. How come I didn't know this sooner? Well, a lot of people ask that. So why not come see us? And let's find out what we can do for your health so you don't become like most of my patients that say, why didn't I do this sooner? Why didn't I get my nervous system, my digestive system, my diet straightened out? So drjoe.com. We'd love to see you. We can do virtual or in person. Normally the first visit is $940. I've reduced that to $299 for you, my listeners, because I care about you guys so much. And if you're ever in a car accident, please. If you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. And there are so many, they're called runners and scammers out there. They're going to call you, go see this doctor, go see this lawyer. I've had scammers try to steal my patients from me. Folks, don't fall for it. Go to a doctor. You know you're going to get the care you need and the quality of care that you need. So once again, any questions, drjoe.com, social media, at Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in, folks. I'll catch you next time. You got questions?
Yeah, actually, I have a question.
You have a question?
I do.
Okay.
There's I think it's a Japanese company that's working on prototypes for a bowl.
Uh-huh.
And what the bowl does is it electrically charges the food that you put in it so that it makes it taste saltier than it actually is because more of the actual sodium molecule sticks to the tongue.
Interesting. I've never heard of it.
So you can salt your food like 5% of what you would normally do and still taste as much salt.
How interesting.
But
We're in our question and answer session now, Damon, so you can come through. Yes.
But what would be the negatives of?
I don't know that. I'd have to look into that. Yeah, because if it's freeing up, it may be freeing up glutamic acid, which makes things taste salty. It's an excitotoxin, so I don't know that. That's new to me. So you stumped me. You win. If I had a bell, I'd ring it. Ding, ding, ding. And any other questions that I do know?
Can type 2 diabetes be reversed?
Oftentimes, yes. It's type 2 diabetes is almost always due to your diet. It's called insulin resistance. And so you have to get the cells more sensitive to insulin. And so go to my website, drjoe.com, type in diabetes, and listen to the show we did on diabetes. And then come see us, and we'll put together a whole protocol for you. Okay? But the answer is probably. Type 2, not type 1. Type 1 is a genetic issue, and that's a totally different ballgame. Yeah. What else?
What is red 44 or blue 2 in foods?
Those are dyes, I'm guessing, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, those are dyes that they use in food, and many times, a lot of dyes, I don't know about those specifically, are linked to things like autism, brain function, failure of brain function, brain fog. So, yeah, not something you want to do. Don't dye your food, folks. Nature has enough pretty colors out there. You don't have to add it to it. What else?
Is gluten the problem, or is it that the wheat is not organic?
Both. Gluten is the problem, and not organic makes it worse. But the gluten is a protein we'd have a real tough time breaking down, and that causes an allergic reaction. So, what else?
Is raw honey okay?
Raw honey is still loaded with sugar. If you're going to use a little bit of it here and there, if that's your biggest sin, I'll let you go. Okay? But yeah, honey is not really better than sugar because it's mostly fructose. So. And by the way, about 80% of all the honeys in this country, certainly around the world, are fake as well. So honey should get hard when it's cold. It should smell like honey. It should be really thick. So I don't know of any other tests for honey. What they'll do is this. This is the extent they'll go to. They'll take honey from countries maybe we don't do business with, or they'll water down the honey with sugar water, essentially. And then they'll add pollen to it. And then when you test it, oh yeah, test for pollen, it must be real honey. That's how sneaky the counterfeiters are. So try to get organic. If you can get a honey from like a real farmer, like you know the farmer, it's from his bees, that's probably the best choice. What else?
Is it okay to go to bed after a large meal?
No. No. Your stomach sits below your diaphragm. If you eat a large meal, it pushes up against the diaphragm, and that can cause acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating, inability to break the food down properly, but it can also cause snoring. Because when you breathe, your diaphragm has to drop down to suck air in and then blow it out. And so if the stomach is pushing up against the diaphragm, when you're laying down, you don't have gravity assisting, and you may be snoring. So, yeah, you got to give yourself about 2-3 hours between your meal. What I want you to do is I want you to do intermittent fasting. I want you to go 12 hours a day without food. If you do this and nothing else, you'll be amazed. Again, everything I do, if you just do this, you'll be amazed. If you just took Super Greens and Essential Source, if you just intermittent fasted, if you just got chiropractic care, if you just took nitric oxide, and then you add it all together. Had a patient this week, severe autism. The only word he can say is, and he's sitting there and he's like counting in his mind, and severe autism and horrible digestive issues. And his grandmother brought him in, said, I've heard you before, and I heard you talk about it. She goes, and I agree with everything you say. And the stomach breaks proteins into amino acids, and amino acids become neurotransmitters. And also, I find with autistic children that they can't absorb folate. They can't methylate their B vitamins, and they can't absorb them. And so many times we get them on B supplement, we get them on Super Greens and Essential Source, and we see some dramatic changes. So hopefully that answered your question. Did I go too far out off the topic there? So what else you got?
I've cut out hard liquor, but is a little bit of a red wine okay?
I always say a little bit of alcohol, a little bit of brain damage. A lot of alcohol, a lot of brain damage. So I wouldn't recommend alcohol. No. If you're going to do it, it has to be organic, but don't do it. But if you're going to do it, it's got to be organic, but don't do it. And every glass you have to have 3 glasses of water. Okay? So that's, but still don't do it. But if you do, organic, 3 glasses of water. What else?
I think that's all.
All right, guys. Garrett, we're good on your end? Okay, thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you follow us on all platforms at Dr. Joe Esposito. Any questions, drjoe.com. Hope to see you all soon.